You know, I got to let everybody know in the chat. I get a question about this every week, and sometimes I forget to put the name of the song in the description, and it's such a great fucking song. So if you're wondering what the name of that song was, Brand New Phone by New Arcades. Love that song. It's sort of become the anthem of Monday nights here on the stream. So I saw a few questions about it. I just wanted to let everybody know. Friday night, we talked a lot about what happened with Randy Orton, Cody Rhodes, and Pat McAfee. And if you missed what happened on Friday night, fear not, because they sure did talk a lot about it tonight here on Monday Night Raw. And they showed you highlights and replays of what happened. And I think the less said about that on Friday here tonight, the better. But it's a clean slate. I didn't want to think about what happened on Friday night. I wanted to see how they were going to rebound from what overall was one of the worst television shows of the year on Friday. Because even independent of what we saw with the Pat McAfee stuff on Friday, SmackDown was fucking terrible on Friday. And the core thing that it needed to do, as all of these shows, is get me excited for WrestleMania. And that show on Friday did not get me excited for WrestleMania. So now they were in Houston tonight. Hot crowd. This was a very, hey, H-Town brought it tonight. I will say that. Hot crowd. We don't always get those here on Monday nights. So it was nice to have a crowd that actually sounded like they were alive for a change. But they were given some stuff tonight to like. Nothing better than the opening of the show. Because CM Punk came out tonight. His WrestleMania opponent was not in Houston. Roman Reigns was never advertised for the show tonight. He was not scheduled to be there. He was not there. Last time we saw him, he was put through the announce desk by Punk the previous week. So CM Punk had to come out here tonight and go it alone. We got one more Raw before WrestleMania. We'll get Roman back on the show next week. Maybe there'll be a contract signing. We were supposed to get a contract signing tonight for a different match, and that didn't work out too well. CM Punk had one job. Come out tonight and get us excited to see him and Roman Reigns one-on-one at WrestleMania. People are already excited. Some people may not be. That's all he had to do. CM Punk went out there tonight in Houston. And I mean, look, some people may disagree with me. They may think it's hyperbolic or whatever. He went out there tonight and cut a more explosive promo than he did with the so-called pipe bomb that he dropped in 2011. Talking about bombs. This promo tonight was far more explosive. And the debris field was a lot wider than the one that we had back in 2011. Because he took aim at a lot of different people. No one was safe. Roman Reigns was not safe. Roman Reigns got torched by CM Punk tonight. Roman Reigns was not safe. The Rock was not safe. Vince McMahon was not safe. Pat McAfee was not safe. Ari Emanuel was not safe. TKO was not safe. Ticket prices were not safe. If you want to get a sense of the state of WWE right now, okay, I want you to think about this. We went from a promo on Friday night where Pat McAfee came out, cut this work shoot promo, and basically talked about the product sucks, the champion sucks, ticket prices, well, not ticket prices, but tickets are not sold out for the biggest show of the year, right? The product sucks, the talent sucks, they're too small, they're not exciting, the champion's a corporate stooge, everything's terrible, things used to be so much better, right? This is a hell of a promo. And we go from that to Raw tonight, where we have CM Punk literally in the middle of the ring. Actually, he was outside the ring, but he's on live television on Monday Night Raw shouting, "Lower the ticket prices." This is the state of where we are right now in WWE. Where you have talent that is actively going out there, be it on their own or being told to. Punk gets a lot of freedom. So I wouldn't be surprised if he decided, hey, you know what I'm going to do? They told me to go out there and shoot. Okay, we'll make up something about ticket prices. He's out there saying lower the ticket prices. He's admitting on television that they have priced their own fans out of their shows. And this is one of the reasons why they don't sell out as much as they used to. Why WrestleMania is nowhere close to sold out. And the only way any of that makes any sense, and the only way any of that is acceptable, is if it's setting up TKO actually lowering prices. So if the end result of all of this is that they realize they fucked up and they have priced out a good portion of their fan base, and they're going to make up for it by actually lowering prices. Great. I don't think that's going to happen, though. Which makes me wonder, as I sit here, like, what's the point of any of this if this man is going to go out there and admit that ticket prices are outrageous and they're actually not going to do anything to fix the problem? We are in a very weird place right now when it comes to WWE creative and what we are seeing on television. But I will say this, it made for one hell of an entertaining promo. And by the way, in all the names that I mentioned, where, he went after Roman Reigns and Pat McAfee and, these references to Vince McMahon and Ari Emanuel, we even got a veiled reference to Chris Benoit in this promo from CM Punk. He left no stone unturned, and he was on his A game. The camera was right up there in his face. He never broke stride. He never missed a beat. He was feeling, I wouldn't be surprised if he had those goosebumps up and down his arms. He was in the zone tonight. And that's the kind of promo that I want to see out of CM Punk. I don't want CM Punk to come out there and cut the same old. I don't want him to come out here and talk about how he respects his opponent. I don't want him to come out here and say, is it great to be alive on a Monday night? Right? This is what CM Punk made his name on, going out there and tearing down as many people as he possibly can in the most entertaining way possible. And that's what we got here on this show tonight. That's why I say more explosive than the original Pipe Bomb. The original Pipe Bomb was a lot more subdued than what we got from him tonight. So the opening of the show I thought was fantastic. And that is how you can you talk about talking people into the buildings. That's the kind of promo that will talk people into the arenas. I don't know if this will be successful. This one promo will be successful when it comes to WrestleMania. But that's the sort of thing that we need to see more of on these shows. Just give CM Punk a reason to actually feel like, hey, this guy might be aggravated legitimately. He might have some legitimate gripes. And if they let him go out there and do his thing, usually what you end up with is television gold. And that is what we got tonight here from CM Punk. Best promo that he's cut since he came back to WWE, and honestly, one of the best promos I've ever heard him cut, even going back to his original run in the company. That's how great that promo was. Now, you may not be a fan of the substance of some of it. Again, we've talked about the McAfee stuff. I talked about it on the Sound Off on Friday night. You know my thoughts on that. My thoughts haven't changed since then. But he certainly took it and turned it into an entertaining opening segment tonight. That was the highlight. That was the peak of the show. But that was not the only thing that happened on this show. The other thing I was looking for was an explanation. Why did Gunther attack Seth Rollins on the show last week? Very happy that they found a role for him on the WrestleMania card because it was getting ridiculous. Like, where the fuck is this guy? So when I saw him last week, even though it didn't make any sense, I was like, thank God we have Gunther on the show. But now they have to fill in the blanks. Right now they have to let us know why. We saw what happened. Now give us the why. And they didn't really do that tonight. Instead, what they did was, and this is what I thought they might do, we had an interaction tonight with Gunther and Paul Heyman, where the gist of it was, there's something that you will owe me down the road that is very, very clearly very important to Gunther. There's an IOU essentially involved here. So what they're doing is they're rehashing the favor angle from last year. They seem to be doing a lot of rehashing. Cody getting kicked in the dick, all the pull-apart brawls, the stuff with the celebrity involvement in one of the WrestleMania main events, the IOU or the favor with Paul Heyman. I mean, stop me if you've heard this before. But it's the most logical explanation for why Gunther would involve himself in business that really he has no business being involved in. Why would he attack Seth Rollins? Why would he do a solid for Paul Heyman or for the Vision? There's only one reason that really makes sense. And without even saying the words, I think they basically told you tonight why. They gave you the why without actually telling you the why, in my opinion. And we'll get into what that was. We had a new WrestleMania match made tonight, which has been rumored, and I think based on what we saw last week, seemed pretty clear we were heading in this direction. LA Knight, boy, LA Knight. LA Knight has not had a good month. LA Knight has not had a good year. And it didn't get any better tonight because LA Knight, his first match back, took the L. But he's got a WrestleMania match. It's going to be LA Knight and the Usos taking on the Vision, what's left of the Vision, and I Show Speed. He will officially have what I believe would be his first WrestleMania match. His first match of any kind, really, since he got speared at the Royal Rumble last year by Braun Breaker. So they made that official tonight. And in addition to that, we have a new participant in the ladder match for the Men's Intercontinental Championship at WrestleMania. We knew there were 5 men involved, including the champion, Penta. There has been a 6th spot added to that match. So it will be a 6-pack challenge, basically, for the Intercontinental title. And we will get into who is going to be occupying that 6th spot. I enjoyed this show a lot more than I did the show on Friday night. It was not a great show, but it did feel like there was more going on. There was more to be excited about, especially the opening segment. And the stuff in the middle, it was hit or miss. There was some stuff I didn't care for. There was some stuff that I thought was fine and did what it had to do to kind of move things along as we, in some cases, limp with some of these matches towards WrestleMania. We certainly got a big demon tease for the Finn Balor and Dominic Mysterio. Speaking of things that they told you without actually telling you, the Demon is coming back at WrestleMania. So for those of you who were big fans of the Demon, even though the Demon died many years ago, you should be very excited because the Demon is coming back. And the Demon is likely going to get something that he has not gotten a very long time. Many years, in fact. I think he's in a pretty good position to actually get a win. When was the last time the Demon won? I don't even know. Last time we saw the Demon at WrestleMania, he lost. And then we all know what happened to the Demon before that. I couldn't even tell you the last time the Demon actually won a match. So anyway, we're going to get into that, and we're going to get into a very scary segment later in the show. It was a quick segment. It was a segment in the back, and it was a segment where I am really hoping that nobody got hurt. But man, it did not look good. It did not sound good. Yeah, that noise you just heard, those were 2 heads colliding. Actually 2 faces colliding in a backstage segment. Anyway, this is your Monday Night Raw review. It is April 6th, 2026, so it's my half birthday. I am the Solomonster. Thank you very much for hanging out with me, all 1,600 of you and counting here on a Monday night. I can see there's a lot of interest in what went down here on this show, so we're going to talk through it all. Like and subscribe. We've already blown past 91,300, so the march to 92,000 subscribers is underway. Help me get there that much faster. Super chats are open. You will see them popping up on your screen periodically. We have a bonus goal going as well, where we will do a double dose of a little something we call Be the Booker around here. Actually, we're going to spin the wheel as well. So we'll bring that up here. See what our likes goal is for the stream. But go ahead and hit that thumbs up. We'll get there that much quicker. Let's find out what it is before we go any further. All right, 530 likes. That is the minimum goal that we need to get to tonight. We can do that. Come on. 530, we have almost 1,600 people and counting in here. We can do that. So go ahead and hit the like button, and we'll check in on that as we go along here. By the way, if you missed it, episode 958 of the Sound Off, number 2 on the episode charts today, only behind Mr. Cornette. Number 2 on Apple Podcasts, all wrestling shows across the United States. So thank you for that and all the kind feedback on the podcast. Now, last week, we saw CM Punk get his revenge on Roman Reigns by power bombing him through the announce desk, the same thing that Roman did to him the previous week. And so this week, CM Punk, the World Heavyweight Champion, he opened the show. And he came down to the ring. He didn't look like he was in a very good mood. Sat down, cross-legged in the ring. We've seen this before. World Heavyweight title over his shoulder. He wanted to address the people. And Punk said that Houston is a wrestling town. There's a lot of history here, which is very true. Houston is a wrestling city. I believe that's where Bruce got his start. Working for Paul Bosch. All goes back to Houston. He actually mentioned Paul Bosch as well, and Paul Bosch got a nice little pop there from the crowd. Said he has a lot of great moments here. Some things that were supposed to happen that haunt him to this day. And this is what I was getting at before when I talked about there being a vague reference to Chris Benoit. So what that was a reference to, I assume. CM Punk was supposed to wrestle Chris Benoit the weekend of the Benoit murder-suicide. They were supposed to have a match for the ECW title at Vengeance in June of 2007. Benoit didn't show up for that pay-per-view. Now we know why. It ended up being CM Punk, I believe, and John Morrison. Morrison won the ECW title. The belief is that Punk was supposed to win the title that night from Benoit, and that match never happened. So when he talks about things that were supposed to happen that haunt him to this day, that is what that is in reference to. Unless something else horrible happened to him in Houston that I'm unaware of. So he said this is Paul Bosch territory, and he loves to hear about the old-timers. He can't help but compare himself to the old-timers and wonder what they would do in times like these. What would Harley Race do? I'll tell you, I could tell you what I didn't know Harley Race personally, but I could tell you that if Pat McAfee was going around on television talking about how terrible business was and how terrible the product was, and we can't sell out, we can't do this, we can't do that, I think Harley Race would have a word with him. I don't think that would end well for Pat McAfee. I think Harley Race would be appalled, frankly, by the current product. Said the important things happen when we're awake. And CM Punk is awake, and he hits the catchphrase, "Is it great to be alive on a Monday night?" here in Houston, Texas. Roman Reigns is not here tonight. Fans didn't like hearing that. Now, there were parts of this promo here where Punk was being booed. They were chanting OTC. They were giving him the what chant at one point, which he looked kind of annoyed, was trying to talk through it. I mean, it would annoy me too. It's just, as a wrestler, it has to be the bane of your existence. It serves no purpose. It's the dumbest chant. I mean, seriously, you talk about low IQ, just absolute dumber than dumb. That's the what chant. So he was able to shake that off pretty quickly here. But he said 2 weeks ago, with help from his cousins, Roman put Punk through the announce desk. Punk couldn't wait to get to Madison Square Garden last week, and he got his receipt. Roman hates him, he says. And he says, good. He won't trade his authenticity for approval. Being hated by losers is the price he pays for not being one of them. Punk showed up. He says he's an old man. Old, but not weak. He needs to explain why he hates Roman Reigns. And to do this, he climbed up on top of the announce desk. And he took his jacket off. So you know that he means business. Okay, when the jacket comes off, it's time to get down to brass tacks. WrestleMania is the biggest show of the year. His tools are self-made and sharpened by self-belief, hard work, and spite. Roman's tools are store-bought, hand-delivered, and plastic. Punk understands why TKO sends Roman to Jimmy Fallon. He's manufactured. You never know what Punk might say. It's a lot easier to send Roman Reigns out to do media like that. Punk can film a bunch of shows and always shows up, but Roman uses it as a crutch to not be there. Roman shows up late. He leaves early. He puffs his chest out like he's The Rock, like he's Dwayne. At least The Rock is a Hollywood superstar. Or was a Hollywood superstar. Never misses a chance to get a shot in at The Rock, right? Remember after WrestleMania last year, the bald fraud? Called him a bald fraud. And now he's mocking him for not being the Hollywood sensation that he used to be. I think he takes glee in taking shots at The Rock whenever he has the chance to do so. Find yourself someone in life to love. The way that CM Punk hates on The Rock. So he says he was a Hollywood superstar, just like Roman was a champion. And that story is long over. So he says, he mentioned Rock as the bloated cousin being on the board. Mentions Roman's dad was a pro wrestler that got him a job because he sucked at football. I think he was talking about Roman with that, Craig. Maybe he was still talking about The Rock. I don't know. I guess that could apply to either one of them. They both played football. Yes, The Rock. That's right. Yes. The Rock is to CM Punk as Disco Inferno is to Cody Rhodes. That is a great analogy and very accurate. Punk said he paid his dues and he earned everything. Meanwhile, he called Roman a Nepo baby who ate dog food for a weird old man. If I don't hear the phrase Nepo baby ever again on TV, it won't be a day too soon. I could do without any more Nepo baby references. I feel like we get too many of these. They're like pull-apart brawls. He said that weird old man expected Punk to take everything and smile, but Punk was able to leave with his dignity because he had FU money. Roman can't control him like he controls his own family. He said, I can gleefully stand on the bridge and blow it up because, bitch, I know how to swim, which is a great line. Punk dropped down from the table. He said people might think he's done, but everybody's getting it tonight. He wasn't done yet. He turned his attention to Pat McAfee. I got a good laugh out of that one. I think that might have gone over some people's heads. But he was talking about Pat McAfee now. He called him the buggy whipped-armed hillbilly. Pat wrote a check that his ass can't cash. Pat should call that agent of his and tell him to lower the ticket prices. Pat's got a good receipt coming to him. Punk wants the ticket prices lowered because he wants all the families to come and see him kick Roman's ass because he's CM Punk and he approves this message. And he threw down the microphone. He climbed into the crowd to pose with his people. Wow. He didn't just blow up the bridge. He nuked the whole fucking thing. That's what he did tonight. He was on point. He was on a mission out there, and he was feeling it. And the fans were feeling it too. You know, even though, again, there was some boos there at the beginning of the promo and there was some what chants, as he went deeper and deeper and he got more and more into it, yeah, it's like warming up the car in the winter. You got to sit there and give it a few minutes, but once it's all warm and all revved up, you're ready to go. That was CM Punk here in this segment. And they were with him every step of the way there towards the end. And they were popping off for all the big comments and all the big burns and everything like that. This was a classic CM. And I hate to use the word because it is kind of cringy at this point. It's overused and everything, but it's the word that's associated with Punk when it comes to these promos, right? The pipe bomb. You know, he had his own version of the pipe bomb tonight, and I would argue that this one was more explosive than the original. The original was more impactful. When we look back on the CM Punk promos or the great promos in WWE history, the pipe bomb is up there because, again, it left a mark. People talk about it to this day. It was a seminal moment for him in his career. I look at CM Punk's career in WWE, honestly. You talk about like BC and AD, before and after, pre and post. The dividing line there is the pipe bomb promo. Because it really wasn't until that night in Las Vegas. I'm pretty sure it was in Las Vegas. I think it was the Thomas and Mack Center. When he sat on that stage and he cut that promo, people looked at him differently. People who maybe didn't know much about him, who maybe didn't see his Ring of Honor work, weren't really sold on CM Punk. And I'm not even just talking about fans. I'm talking about people in the company, people in WWE who weren't sold on him before that, were sold on him after that. And the fans reacted to him differently. He went from being a guy on the roster who happened to be a world champion at one point for a brief period of time to being a main event player. So that promo will always be his all-time promo. But I'm talking in terms of the substance of what he was able to kind of get into here and just how fired up and, I don't know, angry is the right word, but this promo topped that one just in terms of the actual source material. I thought this was great. And also, you know, the thing about it is that blurring the lines, you know, between fantasy and reality, the great ones are able to do it in just like a masterful way to really make you believe and make you wonder, hey, how much of this was real and how much of this was manufactured? And Punk is one of those guys who's very good at that. He mentioned the word authenticity. There are very few people in wrestling that I could think of at this moment right now who have that level of authenticity with a microphone in their hand, where you can listen to what they say and it doesn't feel fake and phony and forced and rehearsed and memorized and, like their heart's not into it. They're just reading something, or it's just they're trying to get something going for a program or something. CM Punk is one of those people. CM Punk, Kevin Owens, MJF. Who else? I'm sure there are a couple of others, but there are very few people I would put in that category today, modern day, right now in wrestling, any promotion. Very few people. You could probably count them all on one hand. So blurring the lines between fantasy and reality, it can be very effective. And, one of the things about a great CM Punk promo is, that works so well, is that whole idea. It's that whole aspect. You get the sense with Punk, though, especially listening to some of the comments he made tonight, that it is more reality than fantasy. So it's not hard for him to come up with this material. Even if they go to him and say, hey, mention this. I don't know if they went to him and said, hey, mention that the ticket prices are too high. I can't imagine that the writers sat in the writer's room or Triple H would have gone to him and said, hey, come here for a second. You know what you should do tonight? You should mention that our ticket prices are absurdly high. Like, go ahead and mention that in your promo. Maybe they did. I think it's more likely they sort of gave him carte blanche, like, here's what we're kind of going for here, and you come up with the source material. Whatever you think is appropriate, and go out there and just speak your mind. Okay. You give him the green light. He's going to go out there and tell you how he really feels. That's one thing about Punk you don't have to worry about. Whether you agree with it or not, he's going to go out there and tell you how he feels. And I get the sense that what he was saying out there, he didn't really have to fake it. He didn't have to sit there and go, gee, I wonder what I want to talk about tonight. Right? There are certain things that are on his mind that probably bother him and aggravate him, where he really honestly believes like these ticket prices are absolutely fucking ridiculous, as I'm sure many of the wrestlers feel. I think Randy Orton even a couple years ago made that comment. Right? Wasn't he walking through the crowd or outside the building? Somebody caught him on camera agreeing like these prices are insane. It's like it's a joke at this point, except it's not funny because they have priced out a lot of families. They have priced out a lot of the people that have been giving them money and supporting them and coming to the shows for so long. That's one of the reasons why when we sit here and talk about this show every single week, right? Houston tonight was great. But in most cities on most weeks these days, you watch Monday Night Raw and it's like a fucking funeral parlor. Now, they're not really given a lot of great stuff on a week-to-week basis, so I don't really blame the crowds necessarily for it. But there is a change that has occurred in these crowds where you are seeing it has an effect on how loud and how invested they are in what they are seeing. And this is just going to continue. Now, again, like I said, if the idea here was to draw attention to the fact that ticket prices were ridiculously crazy, and then they can make Punk look like a hero because all of a sudden ticket prices are going to start to come down a little bit, great. I don't believe that's the case, though. I don't believe there's some sort of plan where it's like, go talk about it, and then tomorrow, prices are going to get slashed. I don't think so. And that's what's so crazy about it to me. Again, maybe he went out there and they didn't quite know he was going to mention the ticket price aspect, but you're having talent go out on your own show and admit that you are fucking gouging people. This is where we are in WWE right now. That's how bad things have gotten when it comes to that. It's embarrassing. I wouldn't be on television celebrating this and drawing attention to this. I'd be embarrassed. I'd be ashamed. But it's kind of like when they make the announcements at some of these international shows and they'll have the ring announcer or somebody go out there in the ring and say, hey, guess what? We just set the new gate record. And they announce this to the crowd. It's one thing to announce an attendance record, but to announce a gate record, all you're doing is just telling people like, hey, guess what? We just charge you 3 times as much as we normally would. And because of that, we just set the new gate record. Oh, yay! Yay! It's absurd. They insult their audience over and over and over again and expect them to take it. And why not? Right? Because people do still buy tickets, but clearly they're not buying tickets in the same way they were a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago. If this were to lead to actual change, I think that's fantastic. But I don't honestly believe that's going to happen. So I'm left to wonder at the end of all this, what is the point? Same thing with the McAfee stuff on Friday. You're drawing attention to stuff. Are things going to really change coming out of WrestleMania in a meaningful way? WrestleMania is one thing. WrestleMania is less than 2 weeks away. But when you have somebody going out there and saying the product sucks, we need to go back to the Attitude Era, and guys that look like The Rock and Stone Cold Steve Austin, and like, we got to go back to that. Okay, well, are you going back to that? Because if you're not, I don't know why you would be saying these things and drawing attention to these things if it's going to be business as usual after Las Vegas next weekend. I don't really understand that. But again, as far as the promo that we got here from Punk, hey, it was a hell of a promo. And I think it was the kind of promo that we needed to hear. He murdered Roman Reigns. Now, Roman was not there to defend himself. He'll have that opportunity next week. And I honestly, there's no way. Roman is much better as a talker than he was 5-6 years ago. But there's no way that Roman is going to be able to come back at Punk in the way that Punk came at him. Because Roman Reigns is not CM Punk. On the microphone, he's not CM Punk. Very few people are. But as good as Roman may be, he ain't no CM Punk. So CM Punk, I thought, absolutely murdered him on the mic tonight. It's the second week in a row. I will point out to you that we've had references to Vince McMahon here on the show without actually saying his name. Last week it was Stephanie McMahon and Cody Rhodes in their segment when Cody alluded to Vince. And so here we had Punk doing the same thing, and I could do without getting any sort of references on the current shows to Vince McMahon. I'm more than happy to go watch some stuff on the Vault. Vince is all over that stuff. That's fine with me. I have no issue with that, but I don't really need to hear him even alluded to on these shows, especially after I sat here for the podcast the other day and I was reading through some of the new stuff and the Janelle Grant stuff. And yeah, I don't really need to be hearing about that sick fuck. So I certainly don't think it's leading to anything. It better not be. But yeah, we don't need to be talking about Vince. Anyway, great opening segment. This is where the show peaked. Best thing on the entire show. So Michael Cole and Corey Graves, we went back to them at ringside, and they were talking about all of the crazy celebrities, all the celebrity involvement that we have at WrestleMania this year. Oh, yes, we're well aware. We are well aware. And they're trying to get Tom Brady. I don't know if they will, but they're certainly trying. So they were talking about this because they brought up IShowSpeed. And all of the recent developments, if you remember last week, he accidentally hit LA Knight in the face with the brass knucks. Oh, I didn't mean to do it. Didn't mean to do it. So then they replayed the angle, and they're doing angles now from the homes of influencers because IShowSpeed was at home. He was doing a stream on YouTube, and LA Knight walked into his house, walked into the room where he was streaming. And it ended with him grabbing IShowSpeed and throwing him into his setup. It would be the if LA Knight was to barge into this room here, he would be standing behind me and throw me into that camera. First of all, that would be amazing. And that will never, ever happen. Not with the deadbolt I have on this thing here. Because as soon as I saw what happened with IShowSpeed, I had all the locks changed. So you ain't getting in. But it was great. I have to admit. I think of all the celebrities that we've had so far in this build to WrestleMania, the one who annoys me the least, and I really don't mind him being involved, is IShowSpeed. Speed is one of those guys, not to say Jelly Roll doesn't get it. He does. And I don't have anything against Jelly Roll, but my God, I mean, there were some SmackDowns where he had fucking 4 segments on the show. Get the fuck off my TV. IShowSpeed, he's not like cluttering the entire show. I find him entertaining. He's athletic. He's in a 6-man tag at WrestleMania. You know, he's not in a singles match. He'll be hidden away just enough to where he's not overexposed. And I thought the angle with the streaming stuff with Knight was actually very well done. So I really don't mind that so much. It's just when you have so many celebrities all at once, it just feels like Celebrity Mania with some wrestlers mixed in. It's not WrestleMania, it's Celebrity Mania featuring some WWE stars. That's what it feels like this year. You got 4, 5, 6 different people. It's ridiculous. If they were to show up at WrestleMania and wave on camera, you could show 20 different celebrities. That's fine. But like they're involved in angles and matches and they've got multiple segments on the shows. And I'm like, my God, what the fuck are we doing here? What are we doing? Speed is the one that I don't mind. So anyway, we see Speed walking backstage. He runs into Danhausen. Now, if you remember, Danhausen cursed him. And it's been nothing but just downhill for him since then. That's why he got thrown into his camera. He wants him to take off the curse. Danhausen offers to lift the curse for a mention, a social media mention. Adam Pearce shows up. Danhausen disappears. And Pearce suggests to Speed, go home. Let the Usos and the Vision work out their differences. You don't need to be here. Go home. Logan Paul and Austin Theory, tag team champions, they show up. And they stop Speed. They go, whoa, not so fast. And they disagree. They say, hey, that stunt that LA Knight pulled at your home on the YouTube stream, that's unforgivable. You're coming out with us to the ring because Austin Theory's got a match coming up next. And Speed's not very enamored with this idea, but off they go. And we did get LA Knight one-on-one with Austin Theory. This was LA Knight's first match since the Elimination Chamber. He had a bursa sac issue. Apparently, it's been resolved. And he did have a sleeve on his arm, but it's good to see that he's at least medically cleared, so he was back in action tonight.
It's the amazing Gunther.
Oh, look who else is back in action.
Jerry Lawler loves Gunther, the Magnificent. All hail Gunther.
All hail. We don't get to see Gunther very often anymore, but it's great when he makes an appearance. Randy Bobandy, thank you for the $50 bomb. Where's Commissioner Solomonster at the show? He's busy. He's getting ready for a different show in Vegas next week. Don't worry, I'm not going to be taking up any TV time. I'm going to leave that to the talent. So Knight was bouncing Theory off the lid of the announce desk outside. Logan Paul was out there in his partner's corner, and he provided the distraction. Now, IShow Speed is out there as well, and he's begging off. He doesn't want to have anything to do with any of this. Logan then shoves Speed into Knight. Knight didn't see this. Speed is like, oh, fuck. Like, I didn't do nothing, right? He's trying to tell him he didn't do anything. So Knight starts to chase after him. He starts to walk after him, and Speed is backing down the aisle. He's telling him, I didn't do nothing. I didn't do nothing. Leave me alone. Leave me out of this. So we hear Jey Uso's music. Apparently, the new music that they debuted last week for the Usos has now been, I guess, they've ditched it. Either that or they hit the wrong button. I don't know. That music lasted all of 1 week. So they're back to Jey Uso's music, and both Jimmy and Jay, they walk out on stage. Speed goes to run away. Knight catches him. Logan, though, is there with the distraction. And back in the ring, Theory rolls up LA Knight and pins him. Not a good year so far for LA Knight. He has not had a good 2026 so far. So now the match is over. Speed is sitting in the corner, and he's looking up at the Usos, and he's looking up at LA Knight. He's begging off, and he's saying, I didn't do nothing. I didn't do nothing. It's not my fault. So Jay is not really buying it. Jimmy gives the high sign. They go for a 1D to Speed. Logan reaches in. He pulls Speed out to the floor. So Knight grabs the mic, and he demands that Adam Pearce bring his ass on out. And Adam Pearce walks out, and he said the Usos were the champions. Speed cost them those titles, so they are no longer the champions. And then LA Knight had tried to get some revenge. Speed cost him that. So he thinks a 6-man tag team match of WrestleMania would be appropriate, where it's him and the Usos against the Vision and IShow Speed. And he asks Adam Pearce, what do you got to say about that? And Pearce says, Speed, you should have gone home, but instead, you're going to WrestleMania. Hardy har har. It was a great line there, Adam Pearce. So the match is official. We will have a 6-man tag team match of WrestleMania. Again, I don't mind it so much. It's an undercard match. It's a way to get these guys on the show. what the hell else would LA Knight be doing? I mean, look, is it ridiculous that he is in a match like this when it would be nice if they could come up with some sort of one-on-one issue for him to, really sink his teeth into like a proper feud? Of course, he's having a terrible year so far. But it's a way to get him on the card. It's a way to get the Usos on the card because you knew they weren't going to leave them off. The tag team titles are not on the line, but honestly, who gives a shit? You cannot tell me that you actually care whether or not the World Tag Team titles are defended at WrestleMania this year. Because WWE clearly does not give a shit about those belts. Look at the way that they have treated them over the past year. They don't care. They don't matter. The sad part is neither tag team title on the men's side, Raw or SmackDown, are being defended at WrestleMania. The women's tag team titles are being defended, but neither set of men's tag team belts are on the line at WrestleMania. Not shocking to me at all. Not at all. The Raw tag team division is dead. The SmackDown tag team division is dead. They're both dead. It would be a waste of a spot on the WrestleMania card. You know who should get a spot on the WrestleMania card? Julia, because she's going to be the only one of the few in terms of singles titles not to have a title defense at WrestleMania unless something gets added this week. To me, it's feeling like that's going to be a SmackDown before WrestleMania match with her and Tiffany Stratton. And maybe Chelsea Green thrown in there if Chelsea can get cleared. That's probably what we're looking at. And I'm pretty sure out of all the singles belts, that'll be the only one that doesn't get defended on the WrestleMania card. That's a slap in the face. The tag team titles, who cares? WWE gave up on these divisions a long time ago. I can't even bring myself to care or be really upset about it. Are you upset that the Usos are not challenging for the tag team titles at WrestleMania? No? Good. Me neither. Moving on. Michael Cole. They showed him at ringside again, and he had to pretend that he was very upset. He was very angry about what Pat McAfee did on Friday night to Cody Rhodes. He and Pat were like this. Pat used to sit next to him on commentary. He's appalled by what Pat McAfee did. I'm looking at Corey Graves. I'm looking at the look on his face. Like, I'm sure Corey is very upset that everybody is hating on Pat McAfee now. I'm sure he's just devastated. But he threw it to highlights of what happened on Friday, and we don't need to get into this bullshit again. You all saw what happened. Now, they advertised the match on this show between Finn Balor and JD McDonagh. And I was actually looking forward to this match. I was looking forward to that the moment that they kicked Finn Balor out of the Judgment Day. I said, one day we're going to get a match between these two, and it's going to be really fucking good. I wasn't expecting to get it tonight until they advertised it, and I thought, oh, okay, this will be good. We're actually going to get the match tonight. But they pulled a bait and switch. We did not get the match. McDonagh was already in the ring. Balor was making his way out. He looks into the camera and he says he's been waiting for this one for a long time. And then he got jumped. He got ambushed from behind by Dominic Mysterio. They ended up in the ring. Finn was holding his own until Dom smashed him in the face with the AAA Mega Championship. McDonagh handed Dom a chair, and he started wearing Finn out with it. And that's how they closed the segment. And look, I get that they want to put more heat on the Balor and Dom match for WrestleMania. That's fine. But you could have done it after the match. At least give us the match that you advertised. And then you could do the fuck finish and have Dominic come out and attack him. We didn't even get the match. So I didn't like that. I thought that sucked because I was genuinely looking forward to seeing that match. I could only hope they're saving it for... do you honestly see them putting that on a PLE? They have 5 fucking matches on these PLEs. If we're lucky, we'll get 5. What PLE would that match be on? Maybe they'll do it in Italy. Maybe. I'm not optimistic about that being a singles match on one of the PLEs. But it would be nice if they went out there and gave him 15 minutes to have a great wrestling match. Now, they aired a pre-tape promo later in the show from Balor. It was kind of funny because it's one of those segments, it was shot in a way and they put music to it and highlights of what had happened like earlier in the show. And I'm like, It just felt like something that would have been taped either earlier in the day or last week or something, but we're supposed to believe that this whole package was put together in a matter of like an hour. Because it included clips of what happened here, where, Dom jumped him and the match never happened. But this was later in the show, and Balor is sitting there, and he said he's bringing back the Demon at WrestleMania. He didn't say those words. He alluded to bringing back a side of himself that Dom doesn't know, one that he buried a long time ago and never thought he would bring back again. And then at the very end, they zoomed in on his face and they zoomed in on his eye. And I don't know if there was like a little demon transformation going on there. The demon is coming back. The demon paint is coming back at WrestleMania. So if you care about that sort of thing, I really can't bring myself to give a shit. But if you care about that sort of thing and you actually still care about the demon, you should look forward to that. At least they'll have a cool entrance, if nothing else. My whole thing with the demon always was, I was very impressed by the paint as far as how he would do the paint, especially when he was doing it before he came to WWE, because he would have different types of paint that he would use. I think once he was Venom or Spider-Man or whatever, and like in WWE, you really can't do that. You get that one design and you got to stick to it, so they can make action figures and they can put you in the video game, right? You can't be changing it all the time. But like, I would watch these matches when he was the demon, because like, he might be in a feud with somebody who pushes him over the edge, and now the demon comes out. It's like, all right, that's kind of cool. But then the bell would ring, and he would wrestle exactly the way that he always wrestled. He wouldn't sell any differently. He wouldn't wrestle any differently. He wouldn't act or behave any differently. It was the same fucking person, just with paint on him. And I'm like, so why am I supposed to care? But I don't know. People popped for the demon. They thought it was cool. I'm like, all right. If you say so. Yeah, Venom, Carnage, the Joker. Roman killed the demon. He did. He did. I know he brought it back for the Hell in a Cell match with Edge that he was supposed to win. And then Vince McMahon said no. Edge is going to win. So he lost. But yes, the demon officially died when he slipped and fell off the top rope. And the top rope broke. Because the demon was so heavy, of course. Top rope broke. Earlier today, Michael Cole had the chance to sit down with AJ Lee. And he was going to conduct an interview with the Women's Intercontinental Champion. Said he can't believe that he's sitting here with her, that she's heading into her first WrestleMania match in 11 years. How do you feel? And before AJ could really get into anything, Becky Lynch shows up. She calls Michael Cole the worst interviewer ever. Cole leaves, says, I'm not going to take this. Looks over at AJ, he says, good luck. So Becky sits down right in front of AJ, said that she remembers AJ's last WrestleMania. AJ gave her a hug in the back with her fake niceness. She saw her replacement and what was coming for her, so she quit. This won't be like the Elimination Chamber. She said WrestleMania is her home. AJ tells Becky she's proud of her. She's made history. But none of that happens without her. She shattered the glass ceilings. She knocked down doors for Becky. The company kept calling for AJ, and they never forgot her. Becky's daughter, her favorite wrestler, is AJ Lee, and AJ will see her at WrestleMania. So AJ left, and Becky threw a fit and was all pissed off. It's fine. Again, I can't say I'm terribly excited to see this match again. They really have not done anything on television to get me to feel a level of excitement for this match that I simply cannot bring myself to feel. I think they could go out there and have a good match. They didn't have a bad match at the Elimination Chamber. But this is the rematch, and I don't know. I don't really care. Sorry. Doesn't really feel like a big WrestleMania match to me. We had Bayley with Lyra Valkyria in her corner, taking on Lash Legend, who had Nia Jax in hers. As Bayley came out, this happened during the commercial break, so I don't know if everybody had the chance to see this, but Bayley is in the ring. She slipped. She slipped and she fell and she kind of rolled over. And she had a good laugh about it. Michael Cole was razzing her for it as well. The two of them never miss a chance to needle the other. Anyway, Nia tripped Bayley off the ropes late in the match. Lash charged into the corner. She ended up hitting the ring post. Lyra got destroyed by Nia on the outside. That brought out Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss. Bayley did a dive out onto the pile. She went back after Lash. She got caught, though, with a right hand. Lash tried for a superplex. Lyra, though, reaches up and she holds her ankle. And Bayley falls on top of Lash. And then Lyra proceeds to hold down Lash's boot so she can't kick out. And Bayley gets the 3 count and wins the match. They have not done, I mean, you talk about matches that they have not done a great job of in terms of the build to WrestleMania. The women's tag team stuff has been the worst stuff they've done on this road to WrestleMania. And it's not really any of their faults, although I really didn't think a lot of the matches that we've been seeing on TV over the past month were very good. The one we got last week was the best of the bunch that I've seen. That was Bayley and Lyra against Charlotte and Alexa. I thought that was good. But yeah, the rest of this stuff, it's just paint by numbers. It's not terribly interesting. It's not terribly exciting. I don't really have a whole lot to say about it, other than later in the show during the commercial, of course, it was during the commercial break, Kathy Kelly was interviewing Bayley and Lyra, and Bayley, I thought, cut a hell of a promo. That was the best promo I've heard Bayley cut in forever. So if you can track it down somehow, go ahead and do so. You know, it was brief. It wasn't out of this world like the CM Punk promo at the beginning of the show or anything, but I thought it was a really good promo. They should have aired that on TV. So then it was time to burn it down. Oh, I was ready to burn it down on Friday night. Let me tell you. Seth Rollins made his way out to the ring, dressed in all black. The man in black. No ninjas tonight, but the man in black. Says he'd been waiting 6 months to walk down the ramp and for the people to sing that damn song. So the people started singing his entrance music. He says at WrestleMania, he goes one-on-one with Gunther. Said he's still putting the pieces together. They don't have a long history. There's no personal issues there. There's no personal animosity there. The only logical conclusion that he could come up with is that Gunther has some sort of business relationship with Paul Heyman. So Rollins said he has 2 missions in his head. One is to take back the World Heavyweight Championship. And the second one is to kill the Vision, which shouldn't be too hard. I mean, the Vision's already half dead. Said he's not worried about Logan Paul and Austin Theory. They've got an issue with the Usos. That won't end well for them. Braun Breaker, on the shelf. Bronson Reed, on the shelf. Paul Heyman, left all alone to fend for himself. And he put Brock on a silver platter for Oba Femi. Says Gunther has made it personal. So as he's talking about Gunther, Gunther attacks from behind. Goes to put him in the sleeper hold. Rollins clearly suspected something was brewing. He had it scouted. He slipped behind him. He put him in a sleeper hold. Gunther was able to get out of it. Rollins tried for a quick stomp. Gunther rolled out to the floor instead. So Rollins did a suicide dive. Gunther caught him, though, and propelled him over his head and over the announce desk. Rollins, though, came right back at him. Adam Pearce is out with all the officials to break them up. Gunther caught Rollins with a cheap shot, big boot, put him down. Pearce told him, get the hell out of here. So Gunther went and he headed to the back. Rollins was not happy. He was fuming mad. He was pacing back and forth, but that's how it ended. But then they cut to the back and we see Gunther is walking and he runs into Paul Heyman. Heyman said, I don't know why you did what you did in Madison Square Garden because, to my knowledge, there's nothing personal between you and Seth. So all I can say to you is that I owe you a very big thank you. And Gunther said, it's very personal for Seth Rollins. That's good because it's personal for me too. Just not for the reasons that Seth may be thinking. As far as Paul Heyman goes, he put his hand out for a handshake. Heyman's all smiles and he shakes his hand. Gunther then pulls him in and gets serious and he tells him Heyman owes him so much more than a very big thank you. There it is. There it is. He said everything that you need to say without saying the actual words. It's the favor all over again. It's a variation of the favor angle that we had with CM Punk and Paul Heyman last year. And I think I even said this last week, that not only would this potentially be the direction they go in, but you don't have to have Gunther expose his reasons right away. You can wait until after WrestleMania. If they wanted to, they could wait a couple of months or more than that. Because the favor, the only thing that realistically makes sense here, unless it ties into the World Heavyweight Championship in some way. If the World Heavyweight Championship ends up in the Vision with Braun Breaker or something like that, and maybe he wants a title shot down the line, I don't even think it's about that. Now, Gunther made a comment in here about how, well, it's personal for Seth, it's personal for me too. He just doesn't realize how much or why. We didn't get much of an explanation here. That part of it was disappointing. I was expecting more out of this. They teased it. They didn't really tell us. So if there is more to this, we're going to have to wait and find out. But as far as what he said to Heyman, it's pretty clear to me. And what makes sense is that he is going to bank on this favor, let's call it, because he's going to want a match at some point with Brock Lesnar. And I think that match is going to happen in Minneapolis at SummerSlam. And whether or not you believe that Brock Lesnar really would be done at that point, even if they bill it as a retirement match if he were to lose, do I think Brock would be done forever? No, I don't. Even if they build it that way. This is not John Cena. This is not AJ Styles. Brock Lesnar can do this for many more years if he wants to. He doesn't wrestle that many times a year to begin with. And if the Saudis come calling for WrestleMania next year, it's going to be Saudi Mania next year. And if they got a big payday waiting for Brock Lesnar because they need star power, ESPN needs star power, they flash a bunch of dollar bills in Brock's face, you don't think Brock Lesnar isn't going to be like, all right, sure, let's do it? Oh, no. Well, I have integrity. I care too much about the promise that I made, that if I lost this match, I would be done at WrestleMania. Get the fuck out of here. So even if they were to advertise it that way, do I honestly believe that Brock is going to be done for good in Minneapolis this year? I don't. But it does feel to me like that's the SummerSlam match. It's going to be Gunther as the career killer trying to end the career of Brock Lesnar. There's your SummerSlam match. The only question now is how long does it take for him to reveal on television what it is that he wants from Paul Heyman? Because you know it's going to come back around on them. And I don't mind them doing the match, but here's the thing. If I'm right, and this is the direction that they are going in the SummerSlam match is going to be Gunther and Brock, that makes it very, very likely that Brock Lesnar beats Oba Femi at WrestleMania. And not only beats Oba Femi, but that it would be a one and done. I don't even know that Brock would wrestle at all between WrestleMania and SummerSlam. What show would he wrestle on? I mean, maybe they have him on like the international show, maybe at the end of May. I guess it's possible, but I'm not even convinced that we would see Brock Lesnar back in the ring again until the beginning of August. So that's the thing I don't like. If we get Brock and Oba at WrestleMania and it's going to be one and done and Brock beats him. And again, I'm not saying there isn't a way to do it where you could do it without killing Oba Femi, but man, for him to lose and not run that back again, I don't like that at all. And so that's the only issue I really have with it. You know, otherwise I don't really have I don't have a problem with them doing Gunther and Brock at some point, but if that's going to be the next one and Oba loses and doesn't have the chance, they don't have the chance to circle back around so he can get that W back, I'm not a big fan of that. But I think that's what we're looking at here. Felt that way to me. But it's also why Gunther has to win his match, you know, with Seth at WrestleMania. And that much, I said that a few days ago. It's like Braun Breaker is medically cleared, supposedly. You can have him make an appearance at WrestleMania. You can have him factor into the finish. It doesn't have to be a clean, you know, Seth Rollins passes out in the sleeper hold. Like, no, you don't have to do that. The important thing is that Gunther picks up the win. And Seth Rollins, even if he loses his first match back, if his loss is caused by Braun Breaker, well, then they go off and do their thing, you know, Backlash or whatever. Gunther has to win that match at WrestleMania. WWE may look at it the same way for Brock. This is a must-win for Brock. We got to keep Brock strong. Remember that comment John Cena made about his match at WrestlePalooza with Brock Lesnar? why Brock had to win? Brock has to look strong. We got to make Brock. I will never not laugh at the way that he phrased that. We got to make Brock. Really? Really? Okay, sure. As absurd as that sounds, this is how they think. We had Penta, Dragon Lee, and Javon Evans as a tag team. All three men will be adversaries in the ladder match at WrestleMania. They were tag team partners tonight against the Americanos, El Grande Americano Kaiser and Los Americanos, Rayo and Bravo. They mentioned that Penta will be defending his Intercontinental title this Saturday on the AAA show against El Hijo del Vikingo. Something tells me, my spidey senses are tingling and they're telling me the Vikingos' chances in that match of winning the championship, they're not very good. I actually thought there was a chance that they would add a sixth spot and maybe they would throw Vikingo in there. Throw the Undertaker a bone. Let's put one of his AAA guys on the WrestleMania card. Plus, it's Vikingo in a ladder match. Kind of makes sense. But then we got the announcement at the end of the match that spot is going to somebody else. So it doesn't look good for Vikingo on the AAA show. Penta landed this great double DDT on both Americanos at one point. Dragon Lee went for a Styles Clash on Rayo. Bravo broke that up. Evans hit the red dot. Lee got his Styles Clash on Bravo. El Grande broke up the count. Dragon Lee sent him packing to the floor. Penta destroyed Rayo with a destroyer. Got destroyed with a destroyer on the apron. And then Javon Evans, he flew from the heavens. My God, the height that he got for this cutter, this OG cutter that he hit on Bravo. And he wins it for his team. I had fun with this. I thought it was a fun match. It gave us a small taste of what we could expect from the three baby faces at WrestleMania. Javon Evans I can only imagine what he's going to do. OG cutter from the top of a ladder? Very possible. I think that's exactly what we're going to get at WrestleMania. It's going to be craziness. Now, when the match was over, we heard Booyaka, Booyaka. Remember William Shatner? William Shatner does the WWE theme songs. One of the all-time classic segments on Raw. Booyaka, Booyaka. Rey Mysterio. Believe that guy is almost 100 years old. Is he like 95 or something? God bless him. He doesn't look it. Look it up. How old is, I know he's 90 something. How old is William Shatner? He looks good for ancient. Rey Mysterio, speaking of ancient, Rey Mysterio comes out, down to the ring. Big ovation. He hugged Evans and Lee and Penta. He talked about how cool it was to see Penta's journey take him all the way to the Intercontinental Championship. Mysterio said that he missed WrestleMania last year due to an injury. And so he had a conversation earlier with Adam Pearce because there will be a sixth spot in the ladder match at WrestleMania. And that spot is going to Rey Mysterio. And everybody cheered. Penta looked very happy about it. So Rey Mysterio got cleared after all in time for WrestleMania. I guess they got tired of waiting. Had to get Gunther on TV because the rumor all along had been Gunther and Rey Mysterio. And if you look at the Dragon Lee stuff they did at the beginning of March, that made sense. That would be the direction they would go in. And Rey gets cleared a week after they bring Gunther to TV. That's kind of weird. I'm glad they brought Gunther back when they did. But it seems like they just missed each other. Frankly, Gunther and Rollins is a bigger match anyway. So I don't really mind it. The only thing I have to say about this is I'm glad Rey made it back in time for Mania. But man, Rey is 50 years old. And he's coming off a couple of fractured ribs that he had to heal up from. And his first match back from the broken ribs is going to be a multi-man ladder match. Good luck. I don't know, man. I'm sure he's very happy to be on the card, but you put this fucking guy in a ladder match, his first match back from injury. What are you trying to do to this man? Rhea Ripley and Io Sky reunited again as tag team partners here for one night only. They took on Michin and B-Fab. Yes, they have migrated over to Monday Night Raw. We had Jade Cargill, the WWE Women's Champion, on Raw in the corner of Michin and B-Fab. And I don't know, I mean, Jade was wearing what I can only describe as this giant red furry flotation device around her shoulders. It's the best way I could describe whatever the hell this thing was. But before we got into the match here, we got a video promo with English subtitles from Asuka. No Kairi Sane, it was just Asuka cutting a promo on Io Sky. She says she loved Io. Io's selfishness, though, destroyed what they had. And she accused Io of trying to take Kairi away from her. She said that she paved the way to WWE for the both of them. Said she sacrificed everything and never expected thanks because she did everything out of love. Asuka said that Io took advantage of her kindness. She said that she would teach Io one last lesson in the ring. And then she switched to speaking in English, and she said that she will take everything away from her. This was really good. It's a really good promo. No mention of WrestleMania, though. Even when they came back and the announcers were talking about what we just saw, they never mentioned it being a part of WrestleMania. Clearly, they're going to have a match, and that match should absolutely happen at WrestleMania. But if it does, there was no mention of that here. So that's a little worrisome. We'll know by tomorrow. We will know by tomorrow what the answer is on that, but there was no indication of when that match would actually happen. So in this match here, while the referee was distracted, there was one moment where Jade tripped up Rhea to prevent her from tagging in Io. Io then rolled up B-Fab with a flash pin to win the match. And that finish came out of nowhere. And that was really it. There's really nothing else to speak of here in this match. When it was over, Jade got in the ring. She laid out Io. Michin grabbed a kendo stick from under the ring. Ripley got into the ring. She tried to even the odds. She ate a terrible-looking pump kick from Jade. This did not look good. So she put a stop to that. And then the baddies, they held Rhea down in the corner. And Jade was just taunting her, and there's nothing Rhea can do because she's being restrained here by Michin and B-Fab. And they're holding her, and she can't go anywhere. And so Jade goes and she grabs the kendo stick. She's going to make Rhea watch. She picks up the kendo stick, and she just goes to town on Io with it, smashes her with it a few times, and then she drops Io with Jaded. And then Jade left with her minions as Rhea went over to Io and cradled her in her lap. This was all very melodramatic. The only thing it was missing was Rhea looking up at the heavens going, no! Like, Io, hold on a second. You got to look up at the heavens and just go,
No! You know, this really dramatic way. All right, let me take that off. The fuck?
That's the only thing this was missing. It's a little melodramatic here for my taste, but it was the only card they had to play as far as what could Jade do on a personal level to really get at Rhea Ripley. It's the only thing they could do. Have her beat up her best friend right in front of her. The only thing I don't like about it is that it just made Io look so weak, especially if they are preparing for her to get in the ring at WrestleMania in her own match with Asuka. And here she was just like a bit player just to try to get this match over here, a match that nobody cares about. So that was my only issue with it. And I'm telling you, if she's not in a match at WrestleMania, if they're going to do Io and Asuka some other time and leave them off the card, I'd be very upset about that. I'm telling you, that's what Rhea should have done. That was me watching SmackDown on Friday night.
No! 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 Oh, you got me, brother.
Now that would have been entertaining. So this is the part of the show where we got the Finn Balor promo that I mentioned earlier on, the video promo where he teased the demon for WrestleMania. Then it was backstage to the Judgment Day. Dominic Mysterio was there with Liv Morgan and JD McDonagh and Raquel Rodriguez. And Dom was wondering, what did Balor mean by that? I don't know. I don't understand. What did he mean by that? So McDonagh tells Dom, look, we need to worry about your deadbeat dad more than we do Finn. Don't worry about him. So they go off to talk to Adam Pearce. So that leaves Liv and Raquel. And Raquel exits because Liv wants to have a conversation with Roxanne Perez, who returned last week. Roxanne's been away for a while. She may be away for a while again after what happened here in this segment. So we have Liv and we have Roxy. And she tells Roxanne, look, I know it was Finn who brought you into the Judgment Day. And before the conversation could go any further, she gets attacked, Liv Morgan does, from behind by Stephanie Vicaire. Stephanie shows up and just blasts Liv from behind with a shot. And she knocked Liv right into Roxanne because they were basically face to face. And she hit her so hard. Liv went face first, head first into Roxanne. You could hear the thud of their skulls cracking together. I can only hope that it was their foreheads and that Liv's fucking head didn't go into Roxanne's face or her cheek or something like that. It made this horrible noise. I'm going to play this. Now, when I play this little 3-second audio clip here, you're going to hear something at the beginning of it. That is their heads colliding. Okay? You heard that noise there at the beginning? That's their skulls colliding. It looked absolutely brutal. Roxanne went down. She wasn't moving. Liv went down. I didn't see blood or anything, coming from Liv's head or anything, but Stephanie then picked her up, and Stephanie rammed Liv's head into the flat screen behind them, cracked the flat screen. So I guess that was kind of cool. And Liv was laid out on the floor. But man, it looked nasty. It really did. And Roxanne looked like she just got killed. Hopefully there's no broken orbital bones or concussions, or I'm sure they're being tested for that. This close to WrestleMania, I mean, Roxanne doesn't have a match, but Liv does. So, I mean, hopefully they're okay, but also you worry about WrestleMania, which is less than 2 weeks away. It was an accident. It wasn't anything that was intended, but man, I hope Roxanne is okay. People are saying she was reckless. Stephanie was reckless for what? For throwing a forearm? How was she reckless here? I mean, it was an accident. I'm not aware of her having a reputation for throwing heavy hands here. They were too close together. And Liv wasn't expecting it at that exact moment, and she just went forward full force, and it just seemed like an accident. It didn't look reckless to me, but I don't know. We'll wait and see if there's any update. I suspect if there is, we will know by tomorrow. But hopefully everything is okay. Man, that is nasty business there. They closed the show, though, with Paul Levesque coming out with Adam Pearce for the show closing contract signing for WrestleMania between Brock Lesnar and Oba Femi, or as Paul Heyman calls him, Oba Femi. That's how Paul Heyman talked to his children as he was raising them, trying to teach them different words and vocabulary lessons. He would really emphasize every syllable as he spoke. He still does it to this day with all of us. So then they went to commercial as Triple H was making his entrance, and all throughout the commercial break, they played his music, and he had time to play to the crowd, which I'm sure he very much enjoyed. So when they came back, Adam Pearce was cut off by Paul Heyman's arrival. He called this the most anticipated contract signing in years, if not ever, in WrestleMania history. He introduced Brock Lesnar. For some reason, they then showed the copyright box in the corner of the screen, like the show was ending, even though the segment hadn't even begun yet, so that was kind of weird. So Brock circled the ring outside. He got in, he shook hands with Triple H, he shook hands with Adam Pearce. And this crowd was amped up. They were ready for Oba Femi, man. They were chanting this guy's name. They were barking, ooh, ooh. I mean, let me tell you, these people were excited to see this man come out. And then it was time for his arrival. It was time for the ruler to make his way out to the ring. Just don't ask him for an autograph on the street. I agree with him, by the way. Leave the man alone. When he's getting into a fucking Uber, leave the man alone. Please. But again, you listen to this crowd and you can tell. I mean, and it's not just in Houston. I mean, it's been every week since he came out to accept Brock's challenge. Like, they are behind him 100%. He looks the part. He is one of the few people that they have been able to match up with Brock Lesnar, who looks like physically looks like he could destroy Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar usually dwarfs a lot of the other people he's in the ring with. So, you know, he fits the role in that respect. But he just comes out. He just has this intimidating presence about him. He is the future. He is the future. He can be the guy in this company. I think the fans feel that. They're trying to will it into existence. You know, they're fully behind him. So he marches and struts his way down to the ring. I mean, look, this guy seems like a sure thing. All they have to do is try not to fuck it up. Think they can avoid that? It would seem like a no-brainer, but with this company, I'm not so sure. So before Oba could even get through the ropes, Lesnar attacks him as he's trying to get into the ring. Lesnar jumps off the apron. Oba catches him and runs him backwards into the ring post. Oba then tosses Lesnar back into the ring, follows him inside. Lesnar went for a suplex. Oba didn't really go. I think he was trying to do like an overhead suplex. And Oba didn't really go fully over for it. So it was a little awkward, a little scary, frankly. But they both went through the table that was in the ring for the contract signing. So security pulls Lesnar and Oba apart, and I'll give you one guess. One guess what we got. We got a pull-apart brawl. Yes. Back Brock into one corner. Back Oba. I don't even know what I'm saying. Back Oba into the opposite corner. Brock breaks free. He lunges at Oba. They separate them again. Oba breaks free. He lunges at Brock. Pull him away from Brock. Now Brock picks up one of the office chairs. Now this was scary because I didn't know how hard he was going to throw this chair. That chair will fuck you up. You can kill somebody with that chair. He throws the office chair, and then Oba takes the chair and he throws it. And this is how they go off the air. That's it. It was over. It was a very abrupt ending, and the contract was never signed. Most anticipated contract signing, Paul Heyman said, we never even got a signed contract out of it. These pull-aparts are completely overdone. The fans were into it here because it's Brock Lesnar and Oba Femi. You got two big beasts in there. These people want to see these two men fight. And they did for about 30 seconds. And then it was over. But the way they positioned this segment, they built this all throughout the entire night. It was the show closing segment. They actually got Brock Lesnar to hang around until the end of the show. That almost never happens. The way they positioned this made you feel as if this is the main event of WrestleMania. And honestly, of all the matches on the WrestleMania card, this feels like the main event of WrestleMania. At least for one of the nights. Do I think they're going to close the show with it? No. I happen to think they're going to open up one of the nights. Probably night 2 is what I'm thinking. Because that's the night where the first hour of the show airs on ESPN. So if I had to venture a guess, that's where I think that match is going to take place. But this feels like a WrestleMania main event here. And the fans are into it, man. They're pumped up every time these guys come out. And really, they haven't done anything yet with these two that makes me look at it and go, oh man, they fucked it all up. Like, they've managed not to fuck this up. And everything they have done has made sense. They don't want to give too much away. Tonight, we got some physicality, but not too much physicality. Last week, right? They didn't even touch. The 2 weeks before that, they had Oba go over on Brock. He looked like a world beater. They've done everything right so far. They got one more week left. Maybe we'll get the actual contract signing next week. Although you can't do more than one contract signing in one night. So take your pick. We either get Brock and Oba actually signing the contract that they were supposed to sign, or we get Roman and Punk. because we had a contract signing for Cody and Randy. So I don't know why we wouldn't have one for Roman and Punk. But they have managed to book this, I think, flawlessly of all the matches heading into this show. They have yet to make a mistake with these two. I didn't like how abrupt they went off the air where, you know, that I didn't like. I know they didn't want to give too much away. They wanted to keep people, and that's fine. Not like I kind of missed that, honestly. There were many years where we would have episodes of Raw, and to use a Pat McAfee example, go back to the Attitude Era. How many times did you have an episode of Raw, probably with Stone Cold, that ended with just mass chaos or people fighting as they went off the air and Jim Ross screaming and ranting and raving, especially if it was a go-home show to a pay-per-view, right? I miss those days where it was just mass chaos and they left you like, oh no, don't go off the air. Like you're not ready for the show to end. I haven't felt that way about Monday Night Raw in many, many years. So there's nothing wrong with that. But it just felt like, man, they could have given us, you know, a little bit more there at the end than what they did. It was a better effort tonight than what we got on Friday. I know that's a low bar. I mean, that bar is in fucking hell, I know, but it would have been hard to not put on a better show than what we had on Friday. It was a hot start. The Punk promo I thought was excellent. Easily my favorite part of the night. The closing segment, a little abrupt, but I still enjoyed it. And the stuff in the middle was very hit or miss. You know, the 6-man tag, I thought that was solid. Everything else pretty much that we got in the middle, not really a fan. Not really a big fan. Nothing overly exciting. But I would say most of the stuff in the middle at least was decent. Now they announced that tomorrow morning, 9:35 a.m. Eastern Time, Joe Tessitore is going to be on ESPN Get Up to announce the full card for WrestleMania Night 1 and WrestleMania Night 2. I assume that includes the match order. I don't think they said the match order. They just said, we will know what matches are airing on what night. So like when I said before, are they doing Io, Sky, and Asuka at WrestleMania? Are they not doing it? We'll know by tomorrow. If Io and Asuka have a match at WrestleMania, it will be announced tomorrow morning. We've all been figuring that Roman and Punk would get the main event of night 2. Because there are people out there who think, well, night 2 is the real main event. And the World Heavyweight Championship, since it was, introduced, has not had the night 2 main event of WrestleMania. And it felt like this was going to be the first time. Roman and Punk, right? That's a big main event. Now that they have introduced Pat McAfee into this, and they are clearly, this is a priority for them now. It's a priority for TKO. It's a priority for Ari Emanuel to get as many eyeballs as possible on that match and position that match as the biggest match on the show. It has me wondering if they would flip it. And if the plan was to do Roman and Punk on night 2, and if they might switch it and actually do Cody and Randy on night 2 instead, especially if they have some kind of big angle planned, for the end of that match. So it's going to be very interesting to see what matches air on what nights. But we will find out tomorrow morning on ESPN. Let's see what you guys thought of Raw tonight. From Houston, Texas, 78% thumbs up, 22% thumbs down for tonight's show. You can get those votes in at Solomonster on X. Overwhelmingly positive for tonight. There was enough to like where I don't disagree with the outcome there. I think that's fine. I think Punk might come out next week and cut another pipe bomb. If they don't give him his night 2 main event, he might be upset. He might go out there and rage again next week. He was this close from getting night 2, and then they take it away from him because of Pat McAfee. Or Pat McAfee. Let's get to your questions here. Oh, the like skull. What was the like skull? 530? We're at 754. So we will at least get the one round to be the booker. We need 5 more of those super chats up top to hit the bonus goal. We're 5 out of 10 on that. We'll start with Death Scythe here. Says, how funny would it be if Randy Orton drops Pat McAfee with an RKO and then delivers a punt kick to him this Friday? I wish they would punt kick that entire angle, but are they going to do that? No, they're not going to do that. I can promise you they're not going to do that. Olivia. Hey, Solo. Thoughts on Balkan food? Have you tried? I have not. I tried borscht many years ago. I think that's Ukrainian cuisine, but no, I have not tried Balkan food. Should I? Robbie H5, 15 minutes in, and I've heard the word receipt 3 times. Yes, receipt and Nepo baby. And bitch. We should do like a, I guess like a bingo card for WWE. How many times in a given night do we hear bitch? How many times do we hear this word? How many times do we hear that word? What are the common words that would be on there? Where is Fahad and ABK? Says Linkmaster. I don't know. I hope they're doing well. I've not heard from them in a while. Or wherever they are, I hope they're doing okay. It has been a while. Abyssal Zones. Triple H sees LA Knight like he sees Tozawa. Well, that's not true, because LA Knight actually does get on the show. Tozawa does not. Devin from NJ. Was Punk legitimately getting PO'd at the people booing him? I know he was going... I know what he was going for, but all it did was make me think of Ryan Nemeth's tweet. No, I don't think he was getting PO'd about them booing him. He might have been getting PO'd about the what chance, you know, which is understandable because they're dumb. Lakers Pats. Triple H Emmanuel meeting should be fun after tonight. Electric Feel. I wonder how long it will take them to rename Raw the Adam Pearce Show. He does make a lot of appearances on these shows. He is the star of the show, clearly. Phil with a $9.99. I miss the old days when Raw would have fireworks and a good intro. These new intros suck. They do. They are fucking terrible, dude. They are awful. Raw used to get you pumped up when the show would start. You had good opening 30-second video, and you'd go into the pyro, you'd scan the crowd, you'd see everybody with their signs, everybody cheering and jumping up and down. And now it's just, again, very sterile. You know, they have whatever the terrible theme of the month is that they use. Even the songs that aren't necessarily bad songs, they don't fit Raw. They pick these songs, they don't fit the show. You know, they don't get you pumped up for the show. And it's all the same bullshit, you know? People doing these fake arrivals in the back as the announcers talk over them. It's just, it's garbage. I fucking hate it. I agree with you 100%. Aaron says, sound of Liv and Roxanne's heads colliding was bad. Yeah, it was very bad. It was very nasty. Randy Bobandy. Started binge watching Everybody Loves Raymond. Saw some episodes as a kid, but now as an adult, I get and love the humor. Were you a fan of the show? I never watched it. I feel like King of Queens, Everybody Loves Raymond. I feel like I would enjoy those shows. King of Queens, I will see clips of on like IG, but I never watched those shows. Arabian Night says, slap in the face to Julia, who has not had a PLE match and a US title has yet to be defended on one. She should quit. Speed is on WrestleMania, but no Mello, Ilya, or Aleister Black. I'm holding out a modicum of hope Carmelo Hayes could still find his way in, but honestly, after what they did on Friday, it would feel kind of hollow. You know, they had a chance to add him, they didn't do it. And doesn't feel like they're going to. There's still time, though. Dragunov is not getting on. Dragunov is not on. Black is not getting on. Mello, there might be a 5% chance. Thank you, brother. Randy Bobandy says, if someone ever asks me if there's one first season of a show to watch, I always say Arrested Development. First season is a masterpiece. Are you going to watch the Malcolm in the Middle reboot coming out this Friday? I will not. I will not. I know some people are excited about it, though. What was that, on Peacock, I think? San Juan Wolf with a $20 super chat. Thank you, brother. And you and Randy. Randy with the 50. Curiosity and X Clips killed the cat. I watched SmackDown despite the warnings, and wow, Raw has never felt more like a palate cleanser than it does right now. Yeah. Yep, it does. Mustafa, do you think whenever competes Dom for the world? Okay, we're gonna have to we're gonna have to do some translating here. There's some words missing here from this super chat. Let me refresh this first of all. Here we go. Do you think, just so you guys can know I'm not stroking out here, whenever competes Dom for the word title, Ray should turn heel and help his son win. I feel like Ray turning heel would break the internet. Rey Mysterio should not be going heel. Rey Mysterio is 50 years old. He's in that legendary phase now. It would be like John Cena all over again. Nobody is going to want to boo Rey Mysterio. Rey Mysterio had a heel run many, many, many years ago in WCW as part of the Filthy Animals. A Rey Mysterio heel turn, I think, would be a terrible idea. L.A. Bryan. To me, the best Raw since the road to WrestleMania. SmackDown needs to step up their game. You think Rock may show up in the Reigns and Punk match? I don't. I think there's a chance, given how many times he was mentioned tonight, but I stopped predicting a Rock return a long time ago. I think it's a fool's errand. If you bank on a Rock return, 9 times out of 10, you're just going to be left disappointed. So I'm going to say no. Nick Grasso with a 1999 after that Asuka promo. I don't know if it confirms that she's having a match with Io at WrestleMania or not. Better not be on an episode of Raw. Also, after the segment between Liv and Roxanne, I'm convinced Roxanne is going to win Money in the Bank and cash in on Liv. I could see Roxanne as a Money in the Bank winner. Did I mention her as a Money in the Bank winner when I did my prediction show? At the beginning of the year, I think I may have. Cornell Bryant, Pat McAfee. Yes. I picked up on that right away. Barry MK, how does EO go from being champion last year to now having no storyline and just being Rhea's friend that gets beat up? It's called bad creative. Go Astros. The only time you'll ever hear me say that. Pick one to turn babyface in 2026. MJF or Gunther. I don't think either one of them should turn babyface. If I was forced to pick one, I would go Gunther. We had babyface MJF. We do not need that again. Not right now. Randy Bobandy, just out of curiosity, what do I have to do to get Billy Kidman on Be the Booker? You have to pay me $1,000. Because that's the only way he'll ever get into Be the Booker. I mean, I've got to have limits. You know? I've got to put my foot down. There's got to be some standards here. He was a fine cruiserweight in WCW for a cup of coffee there, but there are certain people that simply are not going to be added to Be the Booker. Furious Nation, what's going on with the $4.99? What's up, Solo? Just thought I would say this. That my mother is officially getting married this Saturday. That I am the best man at the wedding. I hope that song doesn't play at the wedding. Well, congratulations to your mom. If it's an outdoor ceremony, I hope you have good weather for it. That's awesome, though. Enjoy the day. Thank you for the love. Super Cam Fit with a $10 super chat. Today is my birthday, which means it's your half birthday. Yes, it is. Have a whiskey for me. My birthday gift to myself was saving $400 on below average by watching from home. Saving $400 on below average by watching from home. Talking about the WWE tickets. That sounds like the price of a single nosebleed seat for an episode of Monday Night Raw. Well, happy birthday, brother. Happy birthday to you. Happy half birthday to me. I don't have the whiskey here with me now. Maybe tomorrow. Also, he says, I wanted to see heel Cena face Orton, but as soon as that match was announced, the nosebleeds went from $150 to $250. Been priced out ever since. Yeah, it sucks. I mean, it's only gotten worse since then. And for all the talk about it on TV, I don't think that indicates that they're going to be lowering them. I think they're crazy if they don't. But I don't think they are. I don't think they're going to. Base Beerus. Rock ending Punk's 434-day reign was terrible. I think Rock ending Punk's 434-day reign has stuck with Punk this entire time, is what I think. JDFVA, thank you for the super chat. Randy Bobandy with a $50 Gunther bomb. NWO. Wanted to send a Bobandy bomb to celebrate this show after the dumpster fire of a show we saw on Friday. I know the bar is set low, but let's take the victories no matter how small they are. You got to look for the victories somewhere. You look for them where you can get them. At least there was stuff on this show that I genuinely liked. I can't say that for SmackDown. But Randy, thank you for the bomb. You are the man. Aaron says, could this lead to a WWE Rebels versus TKO storyline? That sounds like a terrible idea. I mean, what is accomplished by that? I don't even understand what the end goal of that would be. Like, are people excited to see something like that? The WWE Rebels? I mean, I don't know. I don't know why that would excite people. New House Media, which Mania match are you looking forward to? Brock Lesnar and Oba Femi, for one. They've sold me on that. I think that ladder match is going to be pretty crazy. Those would be the main ones. And then if we actually get it, Io and Asuka. I've been waiting for that match for a while. Dr. Scorpio, the World Tag Team titles could save wrestling at WrestleMania. Yes. Sure. Duff's Vids, how many WrestleMania 42 matches are there now? Enough for 2 nights. Yeah, I mean, I think the idea is 7 per night, I believe. So 14. The Working Man, oh, he's back. Saw fans saying Punk's promo tonight was generational. Says the bar has never been lower. F this shit. Well, I don't use words like generational, but I did like that promo. And I said it was more explosive in terms of the material that he had to use than the actual pipe bomb was. The pipe bomb, if you think about it, the original pipe bomb, it really was him griping about Dwayne getting what he felt should be his WrestleMania main event. And then talking about how I'm not on the posters, I'm not on the cups, I'm not on this, I'm not on that. Right? It was very... It was more narrowly focused. And then he talked about the doofus son-in-law. And then he got his mic cut. Here he was going after like half a dozen different people. And Now you compare that promo to most promos we get these days on WWE television. Night and day. Aaron says, just think with how bad TKO has messed up with WrestleMania the last few years, next year it'll be TKO and Saudi having their hands all over creative. Yes, if we think that Ari Emanuel getting involved and inserting himself into the creative process is bad, wait until the Crown Prince has a say over what he wants to see at WrestleMania for all the money they're probably paying for that show, assuming the show even happens over there. Way things are going, I'm not so sure. We got Alfonso with a $9.99. Good evening, Solo. Just got back from the show. I can honestly say it was one of the better shows that I've been to. We were loud and it felt like a big party. That CM Punk promo was fire. Yeah, the Houston crowd, man, they brought it tonight. Houston crowd was loud. That was good to see. Base Beer says, has Ray ever won a ladder match? He is a high flyer. He won the custody of Dominic ladder match. It's like the most important ladder match he's ever been in. How can you forget that one? I can't believe I forgot about the custody. Yeah, that was the follow-up super chat. How can you forget about it? That's the most famous of all the ladder matches he's ever been a part of. Super Pony. If Triple H gets removed from his position and is replaced with a TKO stooge, do you think that would lead to certain wrestlers requesting their release? I think it depends on how that person runs creative. I think there's a very good chance that, if nothing else, people would wait for their contracts to expire and then they would go somewhere else. But if that happens, that's still... I still think that's a good couple of years down the road. It's impossible to know how things are going to look at that point. It all comes down to the bottom line, you know. If prices don't come down and the product doesn't really improve, numbers may start to dwindle, and how long would they give Triple H to turn things around? Because, you know, he would be the scapegoat. He's the head of creative. Even if other people are part of the problem, right? They need a scapegoat. He'd be the one in the hot seat. So, as I sit here now, I don't feel as confident, you know, about his position and him in that position as maybe I was at the beginning, where it's like, oh, yeah, I mean, he's rock solid. Yeah, well, you're rock solid until, you know, what have you done for me lately? Right? We got benchmarks and we have goals and we have, you know, quarterly earnings, and they have all sorts of things that they, you know, set their expectations for. And if they're not meeting expectations, somebody's going to have to take the hit for it. And that would be him. It would be him before it would be Nick Khan. You know, he's got to feel like he's constantly on the hot seat. Base Beers. Jericho deserved way more world titles in WWE. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of surprising he didn't have more than what he had. Especially how long he was there for. God, how long was he there for? 19 years? Something like that? Base Beers, I Show Speed would have been a great speed champion. Donovan Payne. Hey Solo, what are some underrated Undertaker WrestleMania matches from the Streak's history that are overshadowed by the later matches with Shawn Michaels and Triple H? Well, one of the first ones that comes to mind is WrestleMania 12 against Diesel. That was actually a pretty good match. I don't think it gets enough love. So that would be one. I think the first Triple H match is my favorite of the Triple H matches that he had. Honestly. First one, WrestleMania 17. I'll throw that one on there. And the match with Jake at WrestleMania 8, like, it's not a great match, but I love that match. I love that match. I love the finish. It's like my personal preference. Base Bear says Raws used to feel like Woodstock. 69 or 99. It was a party. As somebody who went to many of those Monday Night Raws, it felt like a party every time you went. Alex with the 25. Brother Solo, if they truly put the Cody and Orton match for Mania Sunday, can you see a scenario where Orton beats Cody to win the title and the big ending angle is where Cody officially turns heel? I don't think Cody is going heel. I think there's a better chance of The Rock showing up than Cody going heel at WrestleMania this year. But I do think that if they save that for the Night 2 main event especially, well, really either night, very good chance that Orton will win the championship. Especially now that they've started this angle. Seems to me that they're going to want to keep this thing going for a while. Can't do that if Orton gets beat. Right? If he gets beat and doesn't win the belt, then it kind of dies at WrestleMania. Brian Finelli put this towards the purchase of a New York Mets velour tracksuit. It's going to take a lot of those to buy a velour tracksuit, let me tell you. But thank you, Brian. Forgot they were selling those. Jeremy Rose, 15 to 20,000 per night below last year's ticket sales. If these guys are the businessmen they think, then lowering ticket prices is common sense. Not the TKO, it's not. Remember what Mark Shapiro said last year? I believe he used the word elasticity. They're very elastic in their ticket pricing. They feel they could go even higher. There's room to go even higher, he said. Dried Chicken says Asuka versus Io Sky should be a Falls Count Anywhere match. No. Why would that match be a Falls Count Anywhere match? Base Beer says CM Punk lost a fight to Michael Jackson. Yeah, yes, he did. I forgot about that. Right? It was Mickey Gall. And then I think it was Michael Jackson. Solo wearing a velour tracksuit. Would you like to see me open up one of the streams wearing a velour tracksuit? Wearing some velvet. Actually, I have a purple velvet blazer. I look like the Joker when I wear it. That's why I don't wear it that much. Ronan with the $10 super chat. The last Ronin. Fun fact, the original Pipe Bomb was what got me back into pro wrestling. From there, I got into all the dirt sheets and even subscribed to the Observer, but that is also when I found the Sound Off. See, that's like striking gold. That's more important than the Sound Off, or more important than the Observer is the Sound Off. So that would have been, 2011? You've been hanging with me for a while. Thank you, Ronan. Soloing with regret. Aaron says both women's world champions from 41 may miss 42. Who was the WWE women's champion? Oh, Tiffany. Yeah. It's looking very likely. Although I'm kind of hopeful that maybe Bianca makes a special appearance at WrestleMania. Jeremy says Rusev in the ladder match. Talk about square peg in a round hole. Ray Phoenix added would be fire. What if the TKO stooge and storyline is Vince? Then this company is completely fucked. Completely fucked in the head. Yeah, what must Ray Phoenix be feeling right now? Like, they opened up that 6th spot. It would have been perfect for him. But he's on the other show. They don't have any SmackDown guys in the ladder match. And he's just on the sidelines watching this. He's got his brothers in there. Rey Mysterio's in there. Dragon Lee is in there. He's just sitting at home going, man, what do I got to do? What do I got to do? I'm posting all these pictures on social media of me in a straitjacket trying to get out of my AEW contract. I finally get out. I go to WWE. And now I'm sitting on the sidelines. Retro KOH. Does Ari Emanuel take over creative and tell Cody to shave his head and go by the name Spartacus? He's got to get an earring too. Don't forget that. Is that the point in which Cody takes the WWE Championship and mails it to Tony Khan? And then he goes back to AEW as the real world champion? Actually, would be a hell of an angle. Comes in as the real world champion, feuds with MJF. Jeremy says, so Orton McAfee versus Cody and Punk at Backlash. Oh, God. I guess it beats Cody and Jelly Roll. Aaron says, Solo, your Disco Inferno / rock was early 2010s. Matt Hardy with his cryptic social media videos, some of your more underrated rants. There were a lot of good ones from around that time period. There was a lot of dumb shit going on. That was a pretty good one on Friday, too. Anyway, Aaron, thank you for the super chat. I forgot that was still on. Poor Roxanne. I got CTE just listening to that. We are 9 out of 10. Look at that on the bonus goal. We only need one more $10 or above super chat. But right now we are guaranteed one round of Be the Booker because we are well over 830 likes and counting. Getting close to 1,000. Not bad. But right now we got the one round. Let's do it. Let's be the Booker.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is now time to be the Booker.
Here we go. It is time to be the Booker and find out what kind of matches can we book on a Monday night. Is it great to be alive on a Tuesday morning, I should say, here in New York? Not really. We begin with American males. We got American males. And we also, by the way, just hit the bonus goal. Hell yeah. Plus Ultra Adrian. $10 super chat to activate Super SAIYAN Cena. Thank you, Plus Ultra Adrian. That means we get 2 rounds to be the Booker. You could thank him for that. Maybe we get 3. Depends how long we go with this. American males kicking us off. I don't know about this. American males against Money Incorporated. Okay. All right. I like that. I could live with that. Women's Be the Booker. Maybe we could book Io and Asuka before WWE does. Nope. We got Sol Ruka, who beat Zarya at Stand and Deliver the other night. Zarya just can't win a match. Sol Ruka and Lash Legend. Well, if there's an NXT match if I've ever heard one. That'll be airing on the CW this Tuesday at 8 p.m. And our main event. Roman and Punk, Cody and Randy, and now Kane. Not just any Kane, OG Kane. The night he ripped the door off the hinges, Kane. The best Kane. Should have been champion for longer than 24 hours, Kane. Liv Morgan gives you her room key. Now pick a stipulation. Okay. I guess we're picking a stip for this match. You know, Inferno match is in here somewhere. But it will be a strap match. Kane will be bound by the wrist. I don't think Kane has ever actually, that's not true. Kane won the Intercontinental title in a strap match, didn't he? From Triple H many years ago. Kane against Andre the Giant in a strap match. I don't know if Andre ever had a strap match. We know Kane has had one. How about that? Kane and Andre. Think Kane picks him up and body slams him? I think so. He body slammed the Great Khali at WrestleMania one year. What WrestleMania was that? What WrestleMania would that have been? 22? No, not 22. 23. 23? I don't remember. How's that for a fantasy match? A little delayed reaction there. Clean sweep. It was 23. Okay. I guess that was their way in Detroit, Ford Field, of recreating the Hogan-Andre slam, having Kane slam Khali. See, I think they should have gotten Hogan to be at WrestleMania 23, right? WrestleMania 3, WrestleMania 23. They should have gotten Hogan against Khali. And then they could have had Hogan pick up Khali and slam the Giant again. Would his back have been able to withstand a body slam to the Great Khali in 2007? That I'm not sure. But now, with that out of the way, we have a second round of Be the Booker, where we pick all stipulations now for these matches. A table match. All right, so we're going to have a tag team table match, it looks like. Miz and Damian Sandow. So Mizdow in a tag team table match against the Rockers. Okay. Rockers and Mizdow, Money Inc., and American Males. These are not marquee matches, but I give them the bell. I bell those matches. Why not? All right, we got a barbed wire steel cage match. Barbed wire steel cage. Oh, a Tony Khan special here. He loves this. He loves this. We're doing a women's barbed wire steel cage match, by the way, with Victoria. These poor ladies. I don't think she's ever been in one of these before. Oh, she would love this. Victoria and Tony Storm. In a barbed wire cage match. I think Tony would love that. You ever saw the Hollywood ending match? Dipped her fists in the glass with Mariah May. Whatever happened to that Mariah May girl? I miss her. There's a girl in NXT who looks an awful lot like her, calling herself Blake, but she keeps losing. Just lost to Tatum Paxley the other day. Now it looks like she's going to join the Vanity Project. And our main event, we got to pick a stip for our main event. It will be 3 stages of hell. Which means we have to spin again and pick 3 different stipulations for 3 stages of hell. And so, let's find out what our stipulations are going to be. Match number 1. Oh, how are you starting with this? So I want somebody to keep note of this so I don't forget what the stipulations are. An exploding barbed wire death match is the opening stipulation of 3 Stages of Hell. You talk about blowing your load here at the very beginning. How is that not the last round of a 3 Stages of Hell match? So we're going to go from exploding barbed wire death match to an APA Invitational. Did you see the Easter Bunny today, by the way? I felt bad for the Easter Bunny. Easter Bunny he's got a giant bunny head on, but I could see through the bunny head. I could just see the look on this guy's face. Like, what the fuck am I doing here? All right, so the APA Invitational is going to follow. And this is basically just a giant barroom brawl where the Easter Bunny happens to be there. And then we're going to end. We go from an exploding barbed wire death match in the first fall to a Molotov cocktail match in the final fall. So basically, somebody is going to die, is what I'm getting out of this. This is truly 3 Stages of Hell. At least, Be the Booker has gone very dark. Be the Booker has a very sick sense of humor tonight. Greatest match ever. I don't know about that. I don't envy whoever these people end up being in this match. I don't envy who these people end up being. It's Royce Keys, everybody. Remember him? Royce Keys is going to be one half of our main event. I'm booking him more than WWE is, at least on TV. You're giving Tony Khan ideas. And it will be Royce Keys against Oba Femi. Oh my goodness. Royce Keys and Oba Femi. Exploding barbed wire death match. APA Invitational. Molotov cocktail match. And all I can think of when I hear those 3 stipulations, Vince Russo has struck again. I wish those men well, because someone's not making it out of there alive. That's all I can say. Hey, Milk Bath just subscribed. All right. That's a type of bath that you will never see me taking. I don't dabble in the milk. Got some more super chats here to go through. Super Pony, I know the Punk promo was a work, but I can't imagine Ari Emanuel is happy about the ticket prices comment. I highly doubt that was approved by Triple H. Well, whether it was or it wasn't, I think it's a stupid thing to bring up if they're not actually going to lower ticket prices. That would be the funniest part of the whole thing. If he basically went into business for himself with that comment and they have no intention of actually lowering ticket prices. That would be funny. Devin, did Triple H have a bigger impact inside or outside the ring? Outside. outside. And that includes when he was a wrestler. If you catch my drift. Triple H is the reason why the Montreal Screwjob happened. If history is to be believed. I know Cornette has said it was his idea. Russo has said it was his idea. You know, but there have been stories about the midweek phone call that Vince was on with Shawn and Triple H, and Shawn was crying, "Oh, just do whatever you want. We'll do whatever." And Triple H is like, no, if he doesn't want to do business, we'll do business for him. For that reason alone, he's had more influence outside the ring. Look at what that one incident yielded. Dr. Scorpio, Be the Booker is saving professional wrestling tonight. That's right. Fuck Pat McAfee. Be the Booker is saving pro wrestling. Luis says, wow, Danhausen has cursed you, Solomon. He didn't curse me. He cursed Be the Booker. And Dry Chicken says, those wrestlers will need to get medical attention after 3 stages of hell. I think you have to get a medical examiner is what you're going to have to get. With a couple of body bags. I think Oba Femi and Royce Keys, though. If you're going to pick 2 guys who could probably withstand those stipulations, I feel pretty confident about those 2. Anyway, thank you guys. It's been a fun stream. A more enjoyable episode of television than Friday was anyway, but a fun stream tonight. We got a lot more content coming your way this week. In a few hours, I'll be recording episode 9 of the Uncrowned Wrestling Show, which I expect all of you to be seated for tomorrow when it drops later in the afternoon. If you're not subscribed, make sure you're subscribed to the Ariel Helwani Show feed, or you can find the Uncrowned Wrestling Show feed. There is a dedicated feed now for it on Apple, Spotify, and wherever you get your podcasts. I'm going to try to wait until after the announcements are made on ESPN tomorrow morning of what the WrestleMania lineups are going to be, so we could talk about that tomorrow. And the fallout from Raw tonight. And yes, I saw the Alberto Del Dipshit news. I'm sure I'll talk about that tomorrow as well. So that will be on Uncrowned. Super Pony says, who does Cornette hate more, Russo or Kevin Steen? Russo. I've never heard him wish death on Kevin Steen. I've never heard him wish death on Kenny Omega. I've never heard him wish death on the Buckaroos. I've heard him wish death multiple times on Vince Russo. So I'm going to say Russo. Seems like a slam dunk to me. Anyway, Uncrowned tomorrow, TNT tomorrow night over on JD's channel. And then we have Dynamite and we got SmackDown. And then it's going to be WrestleMania the following week. Can you believe it? WrestleMania is almost here. So they're going to get very, very busy. Be well. Stay safe. Have yourselves a great rest of your night. And come on back next time. We'll do it all over again right here on the Sound Up channel. Until then, take care, guys. Oh, my.